Hi, I'm working on my watercolor quilt with the birds on it, and I just sandwiched it. Have a backing and batting and the top. And with watercolor, they sometimes get distorted because maybe the edges weren't quite straight, or it just happens in the sewing of little tiny pieces like this. So in order to make sure it was all perfectly flat and even and straight, I use my ruler and I measure it and I make sure that it is. I measure it all the way down. I measured it across with this ruler in about 5 different places, top and bottom, middle. If something, and in this case, this one was not, this one pulled in a bit in the center. I think these small ones that someone gave me might have been cut smaller. So I spritzed it when I ironed it, and I made sure to put some extra effort into not stretching, but smoothing out like this, the center part that was a little bit pulling in. So now it's very nice and flat. I went and bought some safety pins today because that's how I like to pin baste my quilts. And the problem being I can't find my pins, and my pins have the little tool in it that help you to hook the safety pins. So I'm just using this little kitchen tool to kind of push up the edge of it. Now before I did any of this, I put the top onto batting, smoothed it out, turned it over, smoothed it out again, turned it back over, smoothed it out for the last time. Then I put all those two pieces together onto the back, smoothed it out, turned it over, smoothed out the back again because it gets pulled up some. And when that was perfectly flat, I turned it back over, and that's final smoothing. And that's when I measured everything to make sure the whole thing was at right angles and not bigger or smaller in one section. So some people put a lot more pins than I do, but I work very fast when I'm quilting. I know that on this particular quilt, I'm going to go around the outside edge because it's got a border and lock it all into place there. And then I'm going to come inside and I'm going to pick several more locations to do some straight line quilting with my walking foot. Now I apologize, I don't have my videographer with me today. I'm doing this by setting the iPad up all by itself, sitting up like a big iPad. And so my apologies if this is a bit hard to see. And I don't do as many, as I said, I don't do as many pins as most people. So I'm just trying to get them out of the location where I need to quilt first, which is along the borders. And then I'm going to start using my walking foot and do as much locking in as I can. After I get all of that done, I'm then going to come in. My plan is to come in at that point, and I'm going to do straight line rays like sunshine, maybe crossing each other, double lines, coming away from the center, kind of radiating out. Or I might have them all coming from a light source just behind the tree. And so I won't cross over a bird or the tree. I'll have to start and stop a little bit, which means I'll have to bury a thread. When I'm finished with that, I'll come in and go over these little birds with thread painting. Now, a good thing to do when you're doing thread painting and you're not sure of your tension, I'm going to try and find this little, oops, here's my toes. I'm going to try and find out why it's not taking a picture of this bird. I'm trying to come in on a bird. So anyway, I'll do my thread painting on this last. after I get everything sort of locked into place so that I know it won't shift while I'm working. Now I'm pretty sure that I can handle the tension while I'm doing this extra stitching on the bird. If you're not sure that you can, I suggest putting your top onto a piece of batting and doing all of this intricate thread work first, then layering it with the backing and doing the rest of your straight line quilting or your walking foot quilting. I interchange those. I use my walking foot often to curve. So for instance, if I wanted to do a general swirl, I might even use my walking foot and just keep using my walking foot to do a very gradual curl like this instead of using the free motion, and just keep turning my quilt, because sometimes with rayon threads they'll break with free motion, whereas they will not break when you're using your walking foot. Something to do with the tension and the way you're stitching over them. With free motion, you might accidentally stitch over them and it might cut them. So that's what's happening now. My plan is to come in and do lots of texture on this tree. And I think I might add in some sparkly threads this time. I really like this one. It's called Radiance. It's very shiny and sparkly, and this one's copper. And I believe I may put this in. It'll be subtle, but it'll add a lot of texture when it's stitched on. And the way I'm going to do that, because this is slightly thicker, is I'm going to couch over it. Couching is a way of appliquing thread. You do a tiny zigzag stitch over a thick thread, and it doesn't go through your tension discs. I think it would be pretty. So I just wanted to show you what I'm about to do. You see this sparkly purple? I think this would be quite pretty couched, just to break between the border. Can you see how that is? It's very pretty. And I considered using this thread by hand and doing little fly stitches along this tree, just for texture. This is called Bravo, and it's very almost woolly. And grades in color. Okay, that's it for now.